Hello. In my previous talk, I looked at how the Psalms can be a wonderful resource for helping us to express our feelings towards God. We saw that in the Psalms we can find words that can help us to express our praise of God, to express our gratitude and thanks towards God, and to help us to find the reassurance that when we are surrounded by danger, we are treading along the right path with God by our side. As I mentioned in my last talk, the leading theologian Walter Brueggemann described those particular psalms as psalms of orientation. They express a feeling of well-being and balance. There is a calmness to our life. However, we have to be careful here because we know from our own personal experiences of life that life is not always in a state of balance and equilibrium. There can be a rawness to life when events often outside our control can seriously disrupt our life. When life is turned upside down, life becomes a churning, disruptive experience of dislocation. Life is no longer in a state of orientation and balance. It is seriously in a state of disorientation. In life, we can see this in marriage breakdowns, or in financial setbacks, or in the loss of a job, or in worrying medical diagnosis. We can also experience this sense of dislocation when we have perhaps cross words with people, or when someone has made a cutting remark, or when a false accusation is made against us. It can occur where there is turmoil nationally and internationally, the threat of war, or during a pandemic. It can occur when we experience the loss of a loved one. Here we experience the rawness of life. We can feel stunned and shocked and anxious about what is happening. And in this state of chaos around us, God can seem so distant from us. The problem is that many people become trapped in their experience of Easter Saturday. They become trapped in an overwhelming sense of darkness and loss from which there appears to be no escape. It gives rise to a rawness of emotion and in the language we use to express it. This same rawness of emotion and language is also found in many of the Psalms. This is incredibly important because we tend to have lost a sense of what the Psalms are about, either because the absence of Psalms from our Holy Communion services has resulted in us forgetting about what the Psalms contain, or because when choral evensong is psalms set to beautiful church music, the rawness of the Psalms disappears, or because in morning prayer the Psalms are rushed through and are seen basically as a mere component of the liturgy. Many of the Psalms are psalms of disorientation. They're written by the psalmists who are experiencing chaos in their lives. When we are trapped in the Easter Saturday of our life, we need to reach out for a lifeline, and that lifeline can be the Psalms, because when we reach out to the Psalms, we discover something truly amazing. The psalmist in turn reaches out to God, and God is seen as a saving grace. When we use the Psalms as prayer, we adopt the psalmist's words to express our feelings and anxieties, but we also experience this sense of salvation. They show us a light in the darkness and bring us gradually to the Easter Sunday of our own life experiences. Let's look at a particular psalm, Psalm 13, and this is perhaps the simplest of the psalms of disorientation.
How long, O Lord, will you forget me? How long will you hide your face? How long must I bear grief in my soul, this sorrow in my heart, day and night? How long shall my enemy prevail? Look at me, answer me, Lord my God. Give light to my eyes, lest I fall asleep in death. Lest my enemy say, I have overcome him. Lest my foes rejoice to see my fall. As for me, I trust in your merciful love. Let my heart rejoice in your saving help. Let me sing to the Lord for his goodness to me, singing psalms to the name of the Lord, the Most High.
This is a great example of the structure of many of these types of psalms. It starts with a complaint. How long will you hide your face? Now this might seem rather impious. It expresses raw emotion, and the fact that the psalmist seems to be able to express himself in blunt language. He gets straight to the point. This shows a really close relationship with God. When we know someone really well, we can be honest in expressing ourselves in our prayers. We mustn't be afraid to be open and honest with God. Then the psalm moves to a petition. What is the psalmist seeking? He says, "Give light to my eyes, lest I fall asleep in death." The psalmist is concerned not only about the threat of an enemy outside, but also about an enemy within. He seeks protection from spiritual death. Then it moves to an expression of trust in the Lord. It's an act of faith. I trust in your merciful love. And then eventually it moves to praising God. There is now light in the darkness. Let me sing to the Lord for his goodness to me. God's response to our petition might not be immediate. We have to learn to be patient. But by praying the full psalm, we are filled with a real sense of hope. It helps us to focus on being positive. God is listening to us. We can see a light in the darkness. Sometimes the psalm structure will be in a different sequence. In Psalm 71, we start with a petition, then move to the complaint, which is more of an unfounded fear that God might not be listening. Then we have the statement of faith, and then at last we have the words of praise. I won't read the full psalm, but just these component parts.
In you, O Lord, I take refuge. Let me never be put to shame. In your justice rescue me, free me, pay heed to me and save me. Be a rock where I can take refuge, a mighty stronghold to save me. For you are my rock, my stronghold. Free me from the hand of the wicked, from the grip of the unjust, of the oppressor. Do not reject me now that I am old. When my strength fails, do not forsake me. For my enemies are speaking about me. Those who watch me take counsel together, saying, God has forsaken him. Follow him. Seize him. There is no one to save him. O God, do not stay far off. My God, make haste to help me. Let them be put to shame and destroyed, all those who seek my life. Let them be covered with shame and confusion, all those who seek to harm me. But as for me, I will always hope and praise you more and more. My lips will tell of your justice, and day by day of your help, though I can never tell it all. I will declare the Lord's mighty deeds, proclaiming your justice, yours alone. O God, you have taught me from my youth, and I proclaim your wonders still.
The psalmist is human after all. He has his moments of self-doubt, but it is his faith that sustains him and brings him through safely in the end. Perhaps the greatest of the Psalms of disorientation is Psalm 22. This is the real Good Friday experience when Jesus recites the words on the cross. God, in the person of Jesus Christ, experiences the ultimate in painful torture and human suffering. And the opening words are perhaps the most dramatic words of complaint we have in the Bible. They are words of utter desolation and aloneness in his time of greatest need. But the importance of Psalm 22 is not a psalm of abandonment at all. There's a wonderful transformation in the second half. It becomes a totally positive experience and ends in praise. We can sense at the end that the glory of Easter Sunday is not far off. Again, I'll select some of the verses.
my God, why have you forsaken me? You are far from my plea and the cry of my distress. O my God, I call by day and you give no reply. I call by night and I find no peace. Yet you, O God, are holy, enthroned on the praises of Israel. In you our fathers put their trust. They trusted and you set them free. When they cried to you, they escaped. In you they trusted and never in vain. They divide my clothing among them. They cast lots for my robe. O Lord, do not leave me alone. My strength, make haste to help me. Rescue my soul from the sword, my life from the grip of these dogs. Save my life from the jaws of these lions, my poor soul from the horns of these oxen. The poor shall eat and shall have their fill. They shall praise the Lord, those who seek him. May their hearts live for ever and ever. All the earth shall remember and return to the Lord. All families of the nations worship before him. For the kingdom is the Lord's. He is ruler of the nations. They shall worship him, all the mighty of the earth. Before him shall bow all who go down to the dust. And my soul shall live for him. My children serve him. They shall tell of the Lord to generations yet to come, declare his faithfulness to peoples yet unborn. These things the Lord has done.
The importance of these psalms of disorientation is that they reflect real human emotions and human turmoil. We can use them as prayers in respect of our own needs, but we can also use them as intercessionary prayers when we can ask God to intercede on behalf of other people who are in need. We can say the prayers contained in the psalm on their behalf. I've given some other examples of psalms of disorientation in the description for this video. Dip into them when you need to. Make them your prayers. Experience the light that begins to gleam in the darkness. Next time, we'll see where that light takes us and experience the wonderful psalms of reorientation. Psalms that can give us a real sense of inner peace. Until then,